They say silence speaks louder than words. But when Jim Jones's son finally broke his silence, it felt like a nuclear bomb dropped on the entire family legacy. For years, whispers lingered in the background. Rumors swirled. Fans speculated. But no one expected this. Not from him. Not now. And certainly not with this level of raw, emotional devastation. In a moment that sent shockwaves through hip-hop circles and reality TV fandoms alike, Jim's son took to social media in a surprise live session, his voice trembling, his eyes filled with betrayal. "Chrissy destroyed everything," he said. "Not just my father, not just our family, everything." What followed was a heartbreaking, brutally honest revelation of years of silence, buried pain, and a house of secrets ready to collapse. His words cut deeper than anyone imagined, and suddenly, Chrissy, long seen as the backbone of Jim's public life, was cast in a very different light. Fans were stunned. The industry froze. And behind the scenes, the Jones family scrambled to control the fallout. Was this a cry for help? A desperate act of truth-telling? Or something far more? Explosive? Strap in, because what you're about to hear will shake everything you thought you knew. The screen faded from black, and within seconds, fans knew they weren't watching just another social media rant. Jim Jones's son sat in a dimly lit room, his hoodie pulled low, the weight of the moment practically dragging his shoulders down. His voice was quiet at first, almost unsure. But what he said next would ignite the internet like gasoline hitting open flame. "She broke us. Chrissy broke everything." The live stream began innocently. No one expected it to become the confessional that would tear open years of silent tension. There had always been whispers of friction between Chrissy and Jim's son. Moments of awkwardness caught on camera, cold looks during family events, missed birthdays that no one ever addressed. But nothing could have prepared the fans, or the family, for what was coming. As he spoke, there was a trembling in his tone. Not just anger, but heartbreak. He wasn't just venting. He was bleeding. "Everybody thought we were this tight unit," he said, his hands shaking. "But behind closed doors, Chrissy made sure I was treated like a stranger, like I was in the way." He detailed moments that now seemed impossible to ignore. Like the time he flew in for Jim's birthday, only to find out Chrissy had planned a private dinner and never told him. "I waited outside the restaurant for 2 hours, he said, staring into the camera. "They never came out. My dad didn't even know I was there. You think that doesn't break something in you?" Fans flooded the comment section in disbelief. Some offered sympathy. Others asked for receipts. But what kept everyone glued was the honesty dripping from every word. "I tried to love her," he said, eyes wet. "I really did. But every time I tried to get close, she shut the door." Then came the first bombshell. He claimed Chrissy had once told him directly, during a heated argument, "You'll never come before this relationship." And though he was just a teenager then, he said that moment changed him forever. "You're a kid. You hear something like that from the woman your dad's about to marry? You carry that." Behind the scenes, sources say Jim Jones had no idea his son was going live. And when someone texted him midway through the broadcast, his reaction was reportedly explosive. Insiders close to the family claim Jim immediately called Chrissy, yelling, "What the hell is going on?" But Chrissy, instead of panicking, allegedly replied coldly, "He's just acting out. He always does this." If that was an attempt to downplay the storm, it backfired. By the 30-minute mark, the live had gained thousands of viewers. Bloggers were screen recording. Fans were reposting. And Jim's son, encouraged by the outpouring of support, kept going. He brought up a moment that no one knew about, an alleged confrontation at a family reunion 2 years ago. He said Chrissy refused to let him take a photo with Jim and her. She said, and I quote, "This is our moment, not yours." I walked away and cried in the parking lot. That revelation cracked the internet in half. Many fans remembered that reunion footage, but no one had noticed the tension. Now, with this new context, everything looked different. As he continued, the live stream turned even darker. He accused Chrissy of manipulating Jim, isolating him, and using her influence to push the son out of decisions. "My dad and I were close, real close, but over the years, she started planting seeds. Stuff like, he's only around for money, or he's disrespectful. It worked. Now we barely talk unless it's a holiday. One of the most emotional moments came when he recalled a night in Miami. He had flown in to surprise Jim at an event. But when he showed up, Chrissy allegedly had security turn him away at the entrance. I wasn't on the list. My own father's event. I had to watch from outside the venue like I was a fan. Viewers began posting screenshots, saying they remembered that night, how Jim seemed distracted, how Chrissy kept whispering in his ear. And now, it all made a twisted kind of sense. But it wasn't just Chrissy under the spotlight. Jim's son made it clear that his father wasn't innocent either. He let it happen, he said, voice cracking. He let her come between us. He didn't defend me. He chose silence. And silence is betrayal. As his words echoed across the timeline, Chrissy's name started trending. Fans took sides. Some blamed her entirely. Others said the son was being disrespectful. But one thing was undeniable. The floodgates were open, and the truth, or at least his version of it, was pouring out without filter. He even read old text. Messages live, showing messages sent to Jim that were never answered. He scrolled through photos of birthdays, family events, all moments he claimed he wasn't invited to. I stopped asking to be included, he admitted. I got tired of being disappointed. The pain in his voice was unmistakable. This wasn't a publicity stunt. It wasn't clout chasing. It was the raw, unfiltered confession of a young man who'd been waiting years to be heard. I'm not doing this to drag anybody, he said. I'm doing this because I'm tired of pretending like it's all love when it's not. At that moment, the live froze for a second. Then came the next twist. Someone joined the stream. A woman's voice came through, hesitant, shaky. It was Jim Jones's ex, the mother of his son. What she said next only escalated the storm. The voice that came through was soft, but it carried decades of quiet pain. Jim Jones's ex, the mother of his son, had joined the live. Fans watching almost dropped their phones. No one expected her to speak. She'd stayed silent through years of rumors, interviews, and episodes of reality TV where Chrissy's presence loomed large. But tonight, something broke. I wasn't going to say anything, she began, but I can't sit back and watch my son bleed alone. Her camera stayed off, just a black screen and a trembling voice. She confirmed what many had only speculated over the years, that Chrissy and her had never gotten along, and from the very beginning, there had been tension. She made it clear I was the past, and my son was part of that past. I always felt like she wanted him erased. The comment section exploded. Some viewers typed in all caps, warning others to record. Others wrote that this was finally the moment of truth, the one fans had waited on for over a decade. And then she dropped the second bombshell. There was a time, she said, her voice cracking, when Jim promised he'd never let any woman come between him and his son. I believed that. But after Chrissy, things changed. His calls became fewer. Holidays started to feel empty, and our son. He stopped smiling when he talked about his dad. You could hear Jim's son sniffle. The silence between his mother's words only added weight to everything. I begged him, she continued. I begged Jim not to let her wall him off from his child. But Chrissy was clever. She knew how to twist things, how to make Jim feel like choosing his son meant betraying her. The live had gone from shocking to devastating. It wasn't just a rant anymore. It was a full family intervention unraveling in real time. And then, the moment that no one expected. Jim Jones himself entered the chat. He didn't join the stream. He didn't say a word. But viewers noticed his verified account watching. Screenshots flooded Twitter. Fans circled his username, writing things like, "He's watching this. He's hearing all of it." And yet, he remained silent. "He's there," his son said suddenly. "I know he's watching." But he still won't speak, just like always. A new wave of emotion hit. The betrayal wasn't just from Chrissy now. It was the silence from Jim that cut deepest. "You let her shut me out, Dad. You watched it happen. And now you're watching this too, and still, nothing." His mother's voice broke again. "We could have fixed this years ago. But every time we tried, Chrissy found a way to twist. The knife. I'm not perfect. I'm not pretending I didn't have my flaws. But no mother should watch her child be treated like a burden in his father's house. Then came the third bombshell. According to The Sun, there was a night last year when Jim privately admitted everything. He told me he knew she didn't like me, he said. He said he was just trying to keep the peace. And I said, what about our peace? What about mine? Fans were reeling. Blogs were already writing headlines. And in the middle of it all, the live kept going. More people joined, old friends, family friends. Even a former manager who only stayed for a few seconds dropped a single comment that left fans stunned. We always knew this would come out someday, but The Sun wasn't done. You know what hurts the most? He asked, staring directly into the camera. It's not the parties I missed, not the events, not even the gifts that never came. It's the fact that every time I walked into a room, she made me feel like I didn't belong, like I was some reminder of a mistake. And my dad let her. The comments shifted from shock to rage. Some fans called for Chrissy to respond publicly. Others blamed Jim entirely. But one question kept repeating. How did it get this bad? And then he answered it. He claimed it wasn't just Chrissy's coldness or Jim's silence. It was years of subtle exclusion, of being left out of family photos, never being introduced at events, being told stay back during red carpet moments. I wasn't his son in public, he said. I was a shadow. I was the kid from before. A moment of raw silence followed. I tried to forgive, he said. I told myself maybe she was just scared. Maybe she thought I was competition for his love. But then I realized she didn't want to share him at all, not even with his blood. That line hit like a thunderclap. People watching began tweeting quotes from the live. Some started tagging Chrissy, demanding she speak up. Others begged Jim to join the stream, but still, nothing from either of them. The mother spoke once more. I know this might burn bridges, she said. But those bridges were already on fire. My son deserves to be heard. And Chrissy, if you're listening, you hurt him. And I hope one day you admit that. Then, the screen glitched. The mother left the stream. Jim's son sat alone again, silent for a moment. Then he looked up and said something no one expected. There's something else, he whispered. Something. I haven't told anyone, not even my mom. The comment section exploded. Fans begged him to say it. Some typed, "Don't hold back," while others posted, "We're here for you." He leaned forward, face pale, voice shaky. It happened on the night of the reunion shoot, he said. The one everyone saw on TV. What happened off camera? That changed everything. And just like that, the live cut out. The screen went black for just a few seconds, but for viewers, it felt like an eternity. When the stream returned, Jim Jones's son was already mid-sentence, his voice lower now, like he was dragging the words out from somewhere he never wanted to revisit. I shouldn't even be talking about this, he said, eyes darting off screen. But if I don't say it now, it'll eat me alive. The comment section was on fire. Viewers begged him to continue, pleading for the truth. Some thought he would talk about another argument or a private family betrayal. But what came next? No one saw it coming. On the night of that reunion, shoot, he said slowly, Chrissy didn't just ignore me, she confronted me and threatened me. The chat stopped moving for a moment, like everyone was holding their breath. They were filming inside, he continued, and I was outside in the parking lot waiting for my cue. She came out looking like she was ready to explode. I thought maybe she just wanted to talk, but she walked straight up to me and said, "You need to stop showing up and making your father look bad. You're not part of this." The room went silent again. Even in his own space, Jim's son looked like he was reliving every second. I laughed at first, he admitted. I thought she was kidding, but she wasn't. She got real close and said, "You think this is your family? This is my show? My life? Stay out of it." The emotions poured out. His hands shook. His voice cracked again. I didn't tell anyone because what would it matter? I knew if I said something, everyone would just call me bitter or dramatic. But it happened. And it broke something in me. For fans, this wasn't just a messy confession anymore. This was turning into a full-blown family war with no return. Blogs were updating live. Screen recordings were going viral. People started digging up clips from that reunion episode, slowing down footage, rewatching the moment Chrissy glanced toward the door where Jim's son had supposedly been standing. "Look at her face," one fan tweeted. She knew he was out there. As the stream continued, Jim's son shifted gears. His tone became colder, more focused, like he had nothing left to lose. "I'm done protecting people who never protected me," he said. "For years, I kept my mouth shut to keep the peace. I let the world believe we were this happy, blended family. But you know what? That peace was fake. And fake peace kills you slowly." He then revealed he had started writing a letter to Jim, one he never sent. He began reading parts of it aloud. The words were brutal, honest, and soaked in pain. "Dear Dad," he read, "I used to watch your music videos and think I had the coolest father in the world. I bragged about you, defended you, even when people laughed at me for not seeing you. I still said, 'That's my dad.' But now, I don't even know who you are anymore." He stopped for a moment, his eyes glistening. "I wanted to believe you didn't know how bad it was. I wanted to believe Chrissy kept it all from you. But you knew. You just didn't care enough to change it." Another piece of the puzzle was revealed when he said his relationship with his little siblings, Jim, and Chrissy's supposed future plans was non-existent. "She didn't want them around me, said I was a bad influence. Imagine being told you're a bad influence on your own family, when all you ever wanted was to belong." The chat began to turn on Chrissy even harder. Hashtags like "Fraud Justice for Jimson" and "Chrissy Exposed" trended within minutes. But amidst all the chaos, a new player entered the game. An audio message was sent to a popular gossip blog, a voice note allegedly from a friend of Chrissy's who had been at the reunion shoot that night. And in that message, she confirmed what Jim's son said. "I saw it," the voice whispered. She walked up to him and went off. "I was shocked. I thought maybe they were filming a scene, but it was real." And he looked crushed. The blog posted the audio. Within 10 minutes, it had over 500,000 views. Jim's son played it live for everyone to hear. "I didn't even know she told someone else," he said. This means I wasn't crazy." His hands went to his face. For a moment, he didn't speak, just breathed. Then, he dropped what fans are now calling the fourth bombshell. "There was a moment when I was younger," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "I heard them fighting, Dad and Chrissy. It was bad. She said, 'If you bring him around again, I'm leaving.' And Dad didn't say anything. He just left the room. The silence was louder than any shout. I should have left then," he added, "but I stayed. I kept hoping he'd fight for me, but he never did." People watching began to post their own experiences, their own father wounds, their own betrayals. What began as one boy's pain became something bigger, a collective grieving, moment shared across thousands of screens, and then one final blow to close the night. "I haven't spoken to my dad in 7 months, he revealed. "Last time we talked, I told him I couldn't fake it anymore. And you know what he said?" He paused. The tears welled again. He said, "You always were dramatic." Gasps flooded the chat. Disbelief, heartbreak, anger. "So yeah," he said, voice broken now. "Chrissy destroyed everything, but he let her." The stream ended moments later. No warning, no goodbye. Just a frozen screen and the sound of silence. The silence after the stream ended was deafening. Thousands of viewers sat there, staring at the frozen screen, unsure if what they had just witnessed was real. On social media, the reaction was instant and explosive. Hashtags surged, comment sections flooded. Even some of Jim Jones's longtime supporters were struggling to defend him. And Chrissy? She became public enemy number one overnight. But what no one expected was that within hours, Chrissy herself would respond. not through a live stream, not through a statement, but with a carefully curated Instagram story. Just one slide. A black background with white text that read, "There are two sides to every story. Don't be fooled. No apology, no name drop, no emotion." Fans were furious. "This isn't accountability," one wrote. "This is gaslighting." Others called the post dismissive and disrespectful. One user posted a screenshot of her story and captioned it, "Imagine being accused of ruining a man's bond with his child and your only response is this?" The backlash was brutal, and yet Chrissy remained silent. Behind the scenes, insiders claimed she was in full panic mode. One producer from a previous reality show she had worked on allegedly revealed to a gossip blog that Chrissy had always viewed Jim's son as a threat to her control. The producer went on to say, she never wanted to compete for Jim's attention, especially not with his past. Meanwhile, Jim Jones himself had yet to. The fallout was instant. Radio hosts covered it. Podcast segments analyzed every detail. One host said, "This isn't about celebrity drama anymore. This is emotional abuse. This is family betrayal. And the receipts are right here." The pressure was mounting from all sides. Jim's label started getting emails. Fans began commenting under old videos with nothing but broken heart emojis and "apologize to your son." Brand partnerships were allegedly put on hold. Some of Jim's longtime collaborators posted vague tweets about fathers needing to show up even when it's hard. And Chrissy? The silence that had once seemed calculated now looked cowardly. But finally, Jim spoke. It wasn't a flashy video. It wasn't a staged apology. It was a single post on his story. "I've seen everything, and I'm working on making it right." That was it. And for many, it wasn't nearly enough. Jim's son posted a short message of his own the same night. Words without action are just noise. But the story wasn't finished. A source close to the family came forward to a popular blog, claiming that Jim had broken down in private. That he cried during a phone call with a close friend, saying, "I didn't know it was that bad. I thought I was doing the best I could." The source also claimed that Jim had attempted to reach out to his son multiple times, but the son refused to pick up. The emotional weight was unbearable. Fans felt it. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This was grief. Grief for years lost. Moments